Hey, AJ.
Why you always gotta introduce that like you got bad intentions starting this up?
Because I've always got bad intentions.
Well, you better be careful because I will buy you. I will buy PSVR without parole.
For $70 billion.
No, for like $20.
I mean, we can negotiate. I don't know if we're going to find any common ground here, though. I'll start at 70 billion. You start at $20, and we'll see where we
You
end
know
up.
what?
What?
Like, we can negotiate. Just give me J Meow, and you can keep the channel.
Oh, that's not. There's no negotiation there. You can have him. Jamie has
Sweet.
all
You hear
yours.
that, J Meow? You hear what how well your loyalty paid off? Hope it was worth it.
Bye, Jay. I'll miss you. We love you. Let's start the show. This is PSVR GamesCast Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. If you're watching it right now, then you're probably here live. If you're watching it later, well, then I can't wait to watch the comments you leave as you think you're watching it live. It's always hilarious. My name is Brian Pop, channel right here, PSVR Without Parole, and this gentleman over here, who's about to pay me to do lewd things, AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
What is up, Brian? What is up, game cats and water tigers? Happy Wednesday, man. Happy hump day. And slow week, no news this week.
Nothing's
I know
happening.
but nothing's really been going on, so we're just gonna make some stuff up to talk about.
Yeah. I think fake news days are way better than regular news days because, I mean, then we get to talk about all sorts of like ludicrous conversations, things that would never happen in the real world. Like, I don't know, Microsoft buying Activision. That could never happen. That could never happen. But luckily.
It makes sense, which we're gonna get into. Let me say before we get started, thank you to all of you. I hit 6,660 subs today. So on my channel, it's a 666, and I have been doing nothing but blasting heavy metal all day, from the Heretic Anthem from Slipknot to Machine Head's The Blackening album, start to finish. And I feel good, man. I feel recharged. Nothing like some good metal to get me going.
Well, I mean, I was going to tell everybody to go click the link in the description and go subscribe to your channel, but I feel like this is a place you don't really want to move on from. It's like,
No, I am complete now. The ritual is complete, and I don't need any more ever.
well, if you hate him, if you hate AJ, go subscribe to his channel because then you'll ruin his good day
No,
and make
I'll
it
lose my powers.
6.67 subscribers ASAP. Yeah, I see a couple people in the chat. I must sound sicker than I did on Monday because because I've been sick all week, but I guess I hit it better on Monday. Lots of Theraflu over here, but yeah, thank you very much. We're gonna have a good show no matter what. But really, guys, AJ, the link to AJ's channel is in the description. Please go and subscribe to him. I'd rather ruin his day and get him more subscribers than not, right?
Sounds about right.
Dude, we have so much news to talk about today. Everything from Microsoft buying Activision, some new
Speaking
VR
of the devil.
right. New VR AAA studios being announced, and all sorts of great stuff to talk about. And we should probably kick off the news with the most exciting news, and that's that Bullet Roulette just updated to version 1.02. I don't know how many people in the chat have Bullet Roulette, but I gotta say, it's a little bit of a strange update. I think there were definitely some bugs that needed fixing, but also I think the thing that everybody really wanted out of Bullet Roulette was was in-game voice chat, right? If you're just going to go in and play with a bunch of random people, that's what we were looking for. And it took them, I mean, how long ago did this game come out? Like a year? It took them a year to add updates, and yeah, and we didn't get voice chat included in this update. AJ. You were surprised when I added this to the run of show.
I was.
What do you not like Bullet Roulette?
I like Bullet Roulette, but and the thing is like I like covering significant patches and updates to games. A few bug patches new music, etc. You didn't even add like I don't even know what the significance of this is. And yeah, I mean it's good to stay on top of all the things going on, but man, I think what's better news to me, honestly, is that Swordsman VR, and Sin Studio were a top 5 2021 most downloaded game on PSN. And to me, that is awesome news, and I would love to say congratulations to Sin Studio. And yeah, I really look forward to what those guys are doing and what they're going to be doing in the future.
I agree.
You see what I did there?
I do. I'm like, I wanted to talk more about Bullet Roulette, but I guess we're talking about Swordsman now, so off we go. Yeah, I feel awful for Sin Studio. I can't believe this happened to them. To fall into the trash pile that is the top 10 best-selling PSVR games. Constantly the bottom of the barrel, constantly the cheapest, most disgusting games on the PlayStation Network. We're so sorry, Sin, that you're associated with these just fucking terrible games.
They're good games.
People with no taste are buying your games, Sin. I feel awful for you, and unfortunately we can't support that over here without Parole, so we're going to have to move on and not talk about Swordsman until your next game. And then
I think it's crazy that not a single game from last year, I think it was, hit the top 10 list. That's what's crazy to me. And that just shows you that last year was rough for developers, man. This is why it's good that PlayStation VR has announced PSVR, or Sony has announced PlayStation VR 2, because last year was brutal. I mean, no matter how good the game was, and like the game's improved in quality in many ways, from locomotion systems to being more VR AF, as we like to say, more immersive features. And yeah, it sucks that some games didn't have a strong enough platform. So couldn't be a better time to have PSVR 2 right around the corner, where Sony's basically just saying, here's the hardware, here's what you need to make a successful VR game, and actually give developers a chance to make something big that is actually on a platform that's viable now. And yeah, it's going to be huge.
Rody the Game Cat, one of our loyal moderators in the chat, says, "Shit, Bullet Roulette is only $3.59 right now. Guess I'll grab it." Yeah, it was always it was always kind of on the cheap side, but yeah, I mean, it was a super buggy game. Like, it had a lot of issues, but it was so much fun that it was one of those games that we just kind of played and had fun with and dealt with the bugs and been like, why is this bullet floating in midair? It's just, what is, it's not supposed to be here. And like all sorts of crazy shit was going on in that game. But it was just so much fun that, like, you know, if those bugs got fixed and they added voice chat, then, I mean, you can easily spend like an hour in that game with some friends, and it's just a lot of fun.
It is fun, but it is crazy that they don't have an in-game voice chat.
Yeah.
That you have to party up. I think that's a silly idea. I think that's bad game design, and should be criticized heavily. You know what else does this? After the Fall does this as well, where they're like, we have this entire social hub where there's 32 players that can get together, and you can't hear any of them. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's a bad idea to have a social VR space where you can't automatically hear everyone else. I think that's bad design, and that needs to go. Luckily, things like Zenith are coming out that don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up After the Fall, and that's just an example of something being horribly wrong. Like whatever they designed After the Fall to be is not the game that we got. Obviously, that hub area was supposed to be something radically different, and there's no point in having all those people running around, because what's the chance that you're going to jump in and just find the people that you were looking to play with? There's no chance, except for now, because no one plays it anymore. Everyone realized there's just no content, and they've stopped playing. So After the Fall, 6.5. Moving on. Everyone's like, "Where's your review?" I'm like, 6.5. Let's move on. Well, don't make me waste more time talking about that game. I'd rather play Witching Tower, but I will review it very shortly. There's supposed to be a patch out within the next week or so, and then I'll review it, and we can take a look at yet another look at the updates then. AJ, moving on.
Yep.
I know we didn't pimp our Discord at the beginning of this show, but make sure you click the link in the description below, join our Discord, because that is where you can not only hang out with a bunch of awesome cats, get together for some multiplayer games, but on top of that, you can leave viewer takeover questions. And viewer takeover questions we very frequently grab and throw into our show, like this one. Serial Killer, blended by the Hype Cat, wrote, hashtag viewer takeover, assuming that PlayStation VR2 would only utilize the USB-C port, would it be reasonable to say that you could keep your PSVR hooked up to the PlayStation 5 at the same time and switch between them? That is, if PlayStation VR2 doesn't have any backwards compatibility or upgrades. So we've talked a lot about backwards compatibility and being able to play your PSVR1 games with your PlayStation VR2, but I think this is sort of one of those obvious answers. It's like, well, PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible with PlayStation VR1. You just hook your PlayStation VR1 into it with the adapter. Do you think this is a good enough solution for people?
Well, I think having both plugged in at the same time, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be able to have both on at the same time. First of all, I don't see the point in it, but secondly, I don't think they're going to be able to both function at the same time. Personally, I think they've said before that they're designing a new system for PlayStation VR2, and I think when you have that headset on, it's going to have its own. I'd imagine it's going to have its own 3D like menu, like UI, main menu and stuff. So hopefully something with like a nice environment that you can customize, and lots of different other things. But yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to have them both on, plugged in at the same time, maybe, but not on at the same time. And quite frankly, there wouldn't be a point to that anyways.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he was saying. He was just saying you can have them both hooked up at the same time. And so if you want to play a PSVR1 game, you can still do that. The same way we're doing it now. And then, just plug in your PSVR2 when you need it.
Switch between them. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, he said switch between them. Yeah, I don't see why not. But I definitely, I kept my PS4 Pro. So once PSVR2 comes out, my PSVR1 is going with my PS4 Pro.
Yeah, I just think, everyone complains about the mess of wires in the breakout box with the PSVR1, and that's something that I'm 100% there with everybody on. It is time for, to finally get rid of that mess of wires and clean up my entertainment center. It's been an absolute mess ever since the first day I plugged it in. I haven't had a good way to really hide those wires. It's been a mess. It's been an absolute mess. So I don't want my PSVR1 plugged in anymore once that rolls around. I want to be able to
Want to be able to use what? Just your PSVR 2?
Yeah. What did Gabriel say?
Gabriel 004 says AJ could probably play them at the same time. We will find out on Saturday stream in the future.
Nice. And Looper
I don't know what's going to happen when that happens.
Looper the Underground Game Cat with the €5 says, I really hope you're able to trade your PSVR1 in. Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, that's sort of the deal, right? You don't want last-gen stuff. Some people are collectors. Some people just want to hold on to their old library and all that. But some people are just ready to always move on to the next gen as soon as it happens. Trade your PlayStation 4 Pro in for the PlayStation 5. Trade your PSVR1 in for the PSVR2. Get some store credit for that. And so I think more people are definitely wanting to do that and keep things simple, right? And also for new PSVR2 gamers, you want that backwards compatibility so that you have access to that huge library of games. You don't want them to have to go buy a PSVR1 to go play Astrobot. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get rid of anything anymore. Ever since getting rid of my NES and SNES and a couple other things way back in the day, I've learned a valuable lesson. My old PlayStation 1, a lot of my PS1 games, I will never, ever get rid of them again, even if they just sit in a storage box somewhere, because there will always be a time, even if it's 20 years later, where I'm going to wish I had them and could play them. And if I don't play them, there's a chance that a lot of this stuff could be worth a lot one day. So, yeah, I'm definitely holding on to mine.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know personally if I'm holding on to mine or not. I've gotten to the point where I've sort of maxed out my space in my apartment. I decided I'm not collecting PS5 games. I'm pretty good on PlayStation 4 games, and kind of trying to clear some of that collection out. I'm a big fan of retro games, and I don't think I'm going to get to the point where I'm nostalgic for this era. Not a ton anyway. We'll see what happens. I could be totally wrong on that. But moving on. We had a bunch
Moving
of
on.
move on.
nDreams. nDreams has. This was actually for us personally. This is like the biggest news that came out of yesterday for the most part. nDreams has announced a brand new studio called Elevation.
Yes, they did. See, that was way funnier for the people at home because I switched over to you full screen. And I was like, oh, I think he's going to go off and explain the whole story.
I wasn't ready to go on a 10-minute rant yet, but when you're ready for me to read the article, I'll be standing by.
Wow, this is fantastic news, AJ. I'm so excited to hear that nDreams. Jimmy over there. I think this is all Jimmy, man. I think Jimmy Bowers is the one expanding the nDreams team and making things happen over there. But
everything Jimmy touches turns to gold. That's true.
That's true. I guess he didn't touch Fract because that was more like silver.
What? Fract is gold.
Fract is amazing, but Fract is like 7 hours too short. Belramio the Game Cat with the €5 says, clearing out PS4 games, dibs on Godzilla. My copy of Godzilla is in German, so you're screwed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bell tried to watch Godzilla 1984, and he only had the German version, so it didn't go well for him. So let's get the news out of the way here. Let's see the press release that nDreams shoved our way and to tell us about this studio, and then we can sort of talk about what this means for PSVR, for PSVR2, our industry, and nDreams.
Hey, this article does come from Jimmy Bowers, the community manager over there, and this is from the nDreams website. And he says, we're incredibly excited to announce the formation of nDreams Studio Elevation, headed up by longstanding nDreams senior creative and the originator of the Phantom Covert Ops concept, Glenn Brace. The studio will focus on creating AAA and core VR gaming experiences and will offer a hybrid work model by being remote first, with plans to eventually open a UK-located HQ as a space for in-person collaboration. Quote, nDreams' continued expansion is a combination of growth, investment in emerging developers, and the VR ecosystem, said Glenn Brace, head of nDreams Studio Elevation, feeding the VR industry with funding, game development knowledge, and technology, as well as exploring new and existing genres of player experiences, will help our entire industry drive player adoption and platform growth. nDreams Studio Elevation aims to be at the forefront of this new wave of VR innovation by creating deep, immersive, and engaging experiences to evolve VR gaming. What you think about that, Brian?
I mean, I think this is really, really good news. I feel like this is maybe just the beginning of these kind of announcements. I feel like that over the course of the next year or so, maybe even the next 6 months, we're going to be hearing about different teams ramping up. I think we're going to hear about like Fast Travel Games and Servios and all the games, all the developers like Impulse Gear, who sort of took a step back from VR and made these smaller projects that we've been talking about, and saying, what are these guys doing? Like, why is Wraith not better than Apex Construct? Why is Little Cities and City something VR like the next games from these developers that should be taking this huge step forward, but instead they're taking a step back and playing it safe and delivering something that's like not VR AF, not blowing people away, from a VR standpoint. Like, what are they doing? And I think this sort of tells us what nDreams has been doing. It says, hey, we actually do have that exact thing that you're looking for, but we had to roll with how the market was going. We had, with Quest 2 leading the charge, we had to make games that were totally playable on Quest 2 that were affordable and relatively easy from a programming coding perspective, and that could run on any platform. So this is like probably the best news we could possibly hear for the industry, is a team like nDreams, who had something like Fract that screams AAA. If it was like 8 hours long and a few things were tweaked, that it would have been one of the best titles on PlayStation VR. So these are the guys we want to hear these announcements from.
Yeah, when I was playing Fract, I was actually thinking to myself, like, this is one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had, period. The big problem was with the length of the game, which also happened to affect the depth of the game. I think if you added more length and depth to the game, everything about the game was fine, was a lot of fun, was amazing overall. So it's really, really exciting. I mean, if you look at the history of nDreams, they're one of these companies that just kind of just slowly, like every time they released a title, it seemed like it was better and better and better. So they're really smart and talented over there. And to see them being one of these first companies, we always speculated as to who's going to emerge as like a big time developer in the future. And we thought maybe like Survios, we thought maybe Archiact. And those, you know, I'm sure they actually probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some big plans as well. But nDreams is out here just kicking ass front and center. And they're the first one to announce a AAA focused studio for VR games moving forward. And like I said earlier in the episode, PlayStation VR2 is going to be an excellent platform to release AAA VR games on.
I mean, so I think you and I are in the same boat. There's no coincidence here that they're announcing this AAA studio as news of PlayStation VR2 ramps up, right? Like, this is obviously going to be the platform. Like, this and PC will be their lead platforms, I'd say. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I think yeah. This and PC will be what, VR's or nDreams leading platform?
Yeah, I mean, like when they're talking about, you know, making AAA games and that being their focus,
Right.
I just don't think there's any coincidence that this is happening at the exact same time that
Oh,
the news on PlayStation VR2 is ramping up.
yeah. You can't make a AAA quality game. I mean, I don't think so, but it'd be really weird. But you can't make like a game with the production values on the Quest 2. Now, there's still supposed to be a Quest 3 in development that might be releasing. That could be a direct competitor for PlayStation VR 2. So we can't leave that off the table, especially if that could be more of a high-end, like premium style headset. But as for the Quest 2, yeah, I don't see people making AAA games on the Quest 2. That's just I don't AAA mobile chipset games. This doesn't make sense to me. And I think these combinations of these headsets are going to also just boost some life back into the PC VR market as well. I think that the PC VR side will benefit greatly from these, unless we get into like exclusives and exclusivity deals and all sorts of stuff like that. But overall, because nDreams has kind of played with both. They've done exclusives for Quest, they've done exclusives for PlayStation, and I think they're just prepared to just embrace the whole thing. And yeah, this is really, really exciting that smaller teams are able to expand. If you know, this is an example of a small team that's been able to expand. Although they do have a longer history than just VR stuff. I think they actually worked on PlayStation Home back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is sort of a tangent, but you brought up Quest 3 being a direct competitor possibly to PlayStation VR 2. Man, I really hope that's true. You know, I saw some, no surprise, quite a bit of negativity on my How PlayStation VR 2 Will Save VR video, like my little op-ed there. And no surprise, you know, people are like, oh my God, you don't know, you know, Quest 3 is going to save the day and that's going to be the real, and I'm like, all right, cool. It's like, I don't think people understood what I was saying, because I hope Quest 3 is a huge competitor. I hope it's a massive step forward from Quest 2 and can compete, and that these games can be made for PlayStation VR 2 and Quest 3, so that, because it's still a small market. That's what people don't understand, man. The VR market's still super small. I don't care how many units Quest 2 sold. You see what the top selling games are. When Song in the Smoke isn't number one on every single top sales list, then we know we're in trouble. Like, something's not right out there. And so you need as many different VR platforms that are viable to sell your game on as possible. So, like, for the sake of these developers who are about to spend a whole lot more money making much, much bigger games, like, we need the Quest 3 to be competitive with the PlayStation VR 2. And so for the sake of nDreams, I really hope that's the case.
Yeah. Competition is always a good thing, and like I said, most of the cases everybody wins.
Yeah. Who's next, man? Who's the next studio you think we're going to hear this from? Because I feel like we're going to hear this over and over and over for the next year.
Well, we know that it's tough to say, man. It's really, really tough to say. I mean, I could see we've seen lots of studios get lots of investors and stuff, and strike lots of investment deals and lots of funding deals. So I could see, some of those teams doing it, but I don't know, man. I think nDreams definitely is leading the charge here. If I were to say a guess, like I know I've expressed lots of disappointment in Servios, but again, for lack of other other examples, maybe Servios. Like I feel like when they were on the right track, they were killing it. And then I don't know. And then I really don't know what happened after that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if you have an example or somebody you think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Servios is a great example. I kind of hope that I think it's super duper important during this transition period that developers are able to keep supporting the Quest 2 and make some of these smaller scaled games. Because it's not going to be day one where where PlayStation VR2 launches. You have a PlayStation VR2 launch game and you start selling it. You're not going to recoup those losses right away. So I'm very optimistic about the future. I'm very optimistic about VR period, but ultimately, like, we need these developers to keep making games for the Quest and keep pulling their money in. So I think that a lot of the current A teams,
well, only until PlayStation VR2 comes out.
But I mean, like, what's the adoption rate on that going to be? Day one, it's going to take a little time for people to get their PlayStation 5s, their PSVR2s, and then actually start spending money on the PlayStation Store, like one game after another after another. It's like, I hope in the next couple of years we get to a point where, they can sell 500,000 copies of a game or 1 million copies of a game. But right now, like, that's not where anybody's at, and probably won't be at for the first year of PlayStation VR2. So I think these studios need to keep their B teams around to keep making these games for Quest, and so I would look at somebody like Servios saying, all right, they're going to keep making their Battle Wakes and their Puzzle Bobble 3Ds because they need that for the cash flow. But then they also need like these other studios making like Raw Data 2, and like a full first person shooter kind of thing with a full campaign and like super amazing AAA environments and interactivity and all that. So I would say Servios is probably top of my list to hear something next.
If I were to give you an honest answer, I'd say somebody that we least expect, because that's the way it's gone. I mean, just because a developer has a good track record, hasn't necessarily panned out, meaning that just everything they make is going to be amazing. In fact, I think we've been disappointed more oftentimes than not, in some way. You'd like to think that every developer, like, these guys made this game, they're so good. And then you want to hope that their next game is going to be even better in some way. But that just, quite frankly, isn't the case that we've seen. And I don't know the reasoning behind that. Maybe the teams change. Maybe the budgets change and whatnot. But, yeah, in my experience, it just doesn't always get better. But I do like what nDreams is doing here. And there's a couple teams that they're going to have to prove to me that they aren't up to the task first, and nDreams is one of those, because I believe in what they're doing, and until they make a mistake or something, then I'm But as far as I've seen, they're one of the few developers that their games actually do get better and better, and this expansion to a AAA size, I think again, I agree with you about needing to make stuff on as many platforms as possible, but I do think that PSVR2 and the PC side is going to probably be pretty viable user base there.
Yeah, let's hope so. Carl Parker in the chat says nDreams owes us Frack DLC. They do. I think they do. I think Sony owes us that, because this game was funded by Sony, and right. So that's really all on them. The same reason we haven't gotten a patch for Rush of Blood.
And that's a perfect example of why this is good for nDreams, because you'd have to imagine whatever budget they were working on, they probably had around, like most games, like every single game we see, that besides with some exceptions, most games have like a 2-year development cycle, and they have like a smaller budget. So I think what they managed to do in probably a lower budget and small amount of time, they crushed it with Fract. But we want to see games that have bigger teams, have more time, have more money going into them, and I think that's something that they've basically kicked off here. Besides other first party and third party developers that are going to be entering the VR space this gen.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of this gen, I think we should probably talk about the biggest news story of the week as far as gaming is concerned, especially since it's the big image in our thumbnail, and that's that. Excuse me. Before we get into this, I want to give a shout out to Professor Lilith, who gave us a $5 tip in the chat. It says, the Sunday multiplayer survey is up on the Discord. Do you want to play with giant freighters, giant mechs, or giant spiders? This multiplayer meetup is happening on January 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern, which should be this Sunday, I believe. Yep, it is this Sunday. So go take. I don't know what 3 games these are, but head over to Discord if you want to take part in the Sunday multiplayer meetup and vote for which game you guys are going to play. AJ, Microsoft bought Activision.
What? How come nobody's talking about this?
Nobody's talking about this. It's like this big fucking secret.
Why isn't this like everywhere? Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah, people should talk about this. I think it's very important. I don't understand.
Stupid game journalists. No. Yes, we got the huge awakening. And I swear to God, man, so as a VR user and as somebody who's not really totally affected by this news, because I don't play a lot of Activision games, this news is possibly some of the biggest news that I have seen in my lifetime of dealing with video games, and it is really, really crazy stuff. And I spent all day yesterday. Anything I was working on was just so hard to work on because of this news, and trying to process it, trying to figure out what it means, trying to read into all of the things leading up to it, and really, really crazy stuff. And I can't wait to dissect this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of negativity out there. There's going to be a lot of gloom and doom. But personally, I'm so excited, man. Yesterday I woke up as if the world was on fire. I was just this is so incredible, and I was like, what's going to happen next? For the last 20 years, I mean, one of the many things about video games in the industry is that it's kind of boring. It's always the same. It's always the same players doing the exact same thing, and and that eventually to me translated into gaming, where it's oh man, it's the same open world nonsense that I played last gen with better graphics and a little bit of different story, and I'm just so tired. And that's what got me into VR. But the industry kind of reflects that. It's the industry is a little bit boring. They're all very safe. Nothing big happens. It's the same. It's for a very long time now, ever since Sega dropped out. It's been the same 3 players that have done that have been on the console side: Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo, and then basically 3 tentpoles of the third party industry. It's Ubisoft, Activision, and EA. Those are the 3 big tentpoles. Other ones have come and gone, and other ones have kind of gotten into the forefront a little bit. Square Enix is pretty damn big, but those are the 3, right?
There's a couple more probably, but
yeah,
but I know what you mean though.
But these are the guys who have E3 shows,
profiting.
Yeah, the biggest franchises, the most number of franchises, and it's just always okay. Here we go, and it's that. You basically woke up for the last 20 years going, Microsoft's making consoles, Nintendo's making consoles, Sony's making consoles, and these 3 AAA studios are making games for all of them. And then we woke up yesterday, and that no longer was the case, and that was fucking insane to me.
Right. These companies are more known for the profits they make versus the street cred that they have or the quality that they make these games at. And man, I mean, so when you break down what's been going on, I mean, this Activision acquisition comes at a time where people at Activision and Blizzard are literally on strike and refusing to work because of horrible, toxic workplace environments. And that goes all the way up to the top with the head of Activision, Bobby Kotick. And yeah, they're just it's so So it's no surprise really in the way that of course it's shocking news, but then you look at it and you're like, okay, it all starts to kind of make sense when you look at the situation going on. Microsoft's trying to expand their Game Pass, or trying to bolster their Game Pass. Yeah, they basically, with all this stuff surrounding Activision, the funny part is like they are potentially in a better place with Microsoft because of how awful this workplace at Activision, Blizzard, and whatnot has become. And it's kind of sad, really, but it's the truth. And the way I look at it is like I see some positives that can come out of it, and I see a lot of negatives. The biggest negative, of course, being the consolidation of massive IPs like Call of Duty that are going to be all forced onto the platform. There's this. That's where really the controversy, some of the controversy, I should say, because there's lots to unpack here. But that's where the shock of it came from, was an IP, a big moneymaker, a top-selling PlayStation game year-round, top-selling game of the year-round, is now going to potentially be exclusive on Microsoft.
Yeah, and that's a big word right there that we need to clarify. Potential. Like they bought ZeniMax. Microsoft bought ZeniMax, which makes this whole thing even crazier. Like if this was the only thing that they had done in the last 6 months or whatever it was, like it would be like, wow, this is fucking crazy. But the fact that they had just bought ZeniMax before this, which of course includes Bethesda games, id Games. I mean, there's just like the whole fucking like legions of games that are included in that. It's absolutely crazy how much of the market they just now own. How many of the games that you're very familiar with they just own, but they've still haven't clarified the Bethesda deal. You know, we still don't know if ZeniMax games will be coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, or what the deal is. If it'll be a timed exclusive, if they want to make sure that they put the game out on Game Pass first and say, if you want to play this in the next 6 months, you got to get an Xbox console, and then say, okay, now if you want to buy it on PlayStation 5, you can pay the $70 for it 6 months after.
Well,
the
whole point is Microsoft. This is the last resort for Microsoft, and this is what pisses me off about them. I'm not a console war guy. I've actually had no problem with Xbox for the last like couple generations, but I always in the back of my mind, I'm just being honest here. Like, this is just me. I don't know if I speak for anyone else here, but really, like, I've always kind of disliked some of the ways they do things, and because those end up affecting what PlayStation has to do to remain competitive. This was a last resort move for Microsoft to acquire Bethesda or ZeniMax and Bethesda, and now Activision Blizzard. This is the only way that they could remain relevant, because they sat there and they said, "Oh, we believe in, we don't believe in exclusives. We don't believe in anything else. We just want people to have, and we want games to be accessible." So if they end up not doing that and they make this stuff all being forced to Game Pass, well, then they can take that bag of shit they're trying to sell me and they can fucking eat it, because and I don't think they are. I don't think they are going to keep things multi-platform. I think the whole point of this is to force. Obviously, they had a big opportunity with Activision Blizzard being the big dumpster fire that it is right now, and needs help. I mean, they need help. They've got this dumbass fucking frat boy mentality bullshit going on over there, and people being like mistreated and screwed over. Lots of just awful, disgusting things. And like I said, I actually hope that there is some good that comes out of this. And I'll be honest, the Bethesda ZeniMax thing, that affected me more than this does, because I don't play Call of Duty. I haven't played Call of Duty since the first Black Ops. Like, I haven't really been into it. And the part that sucks about this with Bethesda, I do like Elder Scrolls games. I do like some of those IPs. But the one thing that I was interested about the new Call of Duty was that it used the adaptive triggers on PlayStation, who creates and innovates newly designed hardware and tech to enhance the experience. And now That was literally the only reason I was going to buy the newest Call of Duty, was because I wanted to use it with the adaptive triggers. So now, like, any interest I had, period, is gone. And yeah, I think this is the only way that Microsoft can stay relevant in the game. But like I said, there are some positives to take away here, like potentially Sony having to, they're not going to overreact. They're going to just do whatever they usually do, but they do have to counter this somehow or think of something new, whether that being from building new IPs that kind of replace these, bringing back Killzone, bringing back Resistance, which I've heard a bunch. There's a lot of different interesting possibilities that we're going to see come about this.
Belramio in the chat with the €5 says, just get an Xbox and nothing they do will affect you. The only downside is no VR. That's a huge downside, but also, like, I've got my VR headset on the way, man. My PSVR2 headset, it will be here the second it's able to be here, and so I'm not really concerned. I've always liked Microsoft. I always, like, pretty much from the first Xbox. It's because it always comes down to the games, and somebody over there knows what they're doing when it comes to certain games. Like, the Dreamcast went under very soon after it launched, and Xbox made a lot of moves to make sure that Sega games got on Xbox. And so there's amazing games on the original Xbox, like Otogi 1 and 2 and Panzer Dragoon Saga. And so they realized, they're like, wow, we need some of these exclusives to get a foothold into the industry. That being said, you're absolutely right. They've lost every single console war, if you want to call it that, so far. They lost even the 360 generation, which was a great success for them. They still ended up falling to second place behind PlayStation 3. So even though Microsoft has, like, pretty much an infinite amount of money, it doesn't make good business sense to keep fighting a losing battle. And by all reports, it sounds like the Series X is underselling the PlayStation 5 by a significant amount. And I'm sure they don't want a repeat of last gen, because last gen was, like, so bad that no one's willing to reveal sales figures, right? They're like, oh, we don't do that anymore. Of course you don't do that anymore, because your sales figures are terrible, right? So they just, I think if they had a repeat of last gen, then eventually Microsoft goes, we can't keep throwing money at this. This isn't working. It's costing us more money than it is than we're making. You've got to move on at a certain point. And I think that buying ZeniMax and buying Activision is fucking great for them. It's absolutely great for them. And that means that now they have a stable of first-party games that could be exclusive if they choose to make them exclusive. Maybe Call of Duty is not going to be exclusive, or Diablo.
I think it will be.
Maybe it will be. But they have, like, hundreds of other franchises now. They can be like, well, the next Tony Hawk game is going to be Xbox exclusive, right? And so they can kind of pick and choose and do whatever the fuck they want. And so,
well, the unfortunate part for us here is that we can basically, me personally, I'm kissing any chance of any of these IPs getting any sort of VR support goodbye, because they've expressed their interest, that they have zero interest in VR right now. They're going to let everyone else do the hard work, and then they'll just fucking buy their way into that once that comes around, and that's what they'll do. But to me, man, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. Like, to me, I'd like to think that they're going to handle this properly, that they've been making good strides. Stuff like the Halo Infinite or whatever, they turned it around, which sounds like they turned it around. Forza came out, that looked really, really good. So I'd like to think that they're going to get it right this time. But in the back of my head, they're going to fucking tank every single one of these IPs. They're going to crash and burn with all of these, and they're going to mismanage them, poorly manage them, and they're just going to screw up. And I hope I'm wrong about that, because these are a lot of IPs.
I'm curious to know where that feeling comes from.
Well, just from the way they've managed their primary first-party games and studios, all the games that have been canceled, all the games that have been mismanaged. I mean, not until the reason I said that I even think that there's a small chance that they can get this right now is because they've recently been showing some signs that they're getting their shit together. But really, for the last, like, 10, 20 years or something, like, they've been getting slapped around by everybody, and they've been really not doing a good job of anything. At least from my experience, I don't I don't, I had an Xbox from, I had an Xbox for maybe a month, and like I played like 1 or 2 games on it, and I think it was like Forza and Sunset Overdrive and Cuphead, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, this is fine, and I actually bought it because I wanted a 4K Blu-ray player. But I even ended up selling that for a PS4 Pro. I mean, just the type of gamer I am, I'm into innovation and creation and creativity and bringing new things to the table. And that's what I've always thought. Yeah, I mean, Hooked Worm says they fucked up Rare. Yeah, and they could possibly do the same to Crash and Spyro.
Rare's an interesting story. I've always said that Microsoft fucked up Rare, but if you there are stories that tell that the details about that, and I don't think that actually had much to do with Microsoft. But again, yeah, we haven't seen too many success stories.
Crackdown 3, yes, Crackdown 3. Yeah, just a lot of it's just not been from what I've seen. Again, it's kind of hard saying because I don't play a ton of Xbox, but but yeah, man. So, but I think the other thing we got to ask about this is like, so what does this mean for Sony? How does this affect Sony? I want to know your thoughts on what this means for Sony.
Well, before we get to my thoughts, we got a lot of cats in the chat with a lot of thoughts, and so let me just let's get through a couple of these tips really quick here and see what they have to say. Waleed Saeed Faridi with the Canadian $10 tip says the $70 billion spent by Microsoft could have been spent in creating new innovative IPs or hardware. Instead, they chose to take away a massive studio. I'm now even more excited for PlayStation VR2, and Sony should not panic. So that's a good jumping off point. Does Sony need to react? If you combine this with the ZeniMax acquisition, does Sony need to react? Do they have enough first party studios to continue or do they need some diversity in their first party library?
Well, that's been Sony's bread and butter. You look at what Microsoft's having to do. They buy ZeniMax and Bethesda, and then they buy Activision Blizzard. You look at what Sony picks up. Their biggest pickup is obviously Insomniac. I think of recent. That was a big one, but that's a developer. That's not a major. I don't think it's like a major publisher of several different IPs, right? I could be wrong on that, but I don't think so. And then they've picked up like Firesprite Studios.
Right.
I mean, not many people knew who Firesprite were before they obtained them. And they're a huge studio. Stuff like Nexus and yeah, like I'm having trouble even remember some of their names. And they kind of groom them and the way they do exclusives. People have always said exclusives are a bad thing, and I've always disagreed, but I see the difference now when it's an exclusive that is from a first party studio that you've groomed, you've developed and produced something and try to push the technology forward versus just taking a third party studio, AAA studios, and just and publishers and just buying them out and just suddenly you're ours now. It's a little bit different, but again, this is the only thing that Microsoft could do right now, which is why they did this. But what was the question?
Yeah, I had a feeling you got away from it. The question was,
it's a lot.
Yeah, the question was, does Sony need to react? Is there anything they need to do? Is the stable for games that they already have good enough to combat what's going on exclusively over at Microsoft, or potentially? I know this is all we're speaking very. We're making a lot of assumptions when we have this conversation, like all these games could suddenly become exclusive. Does Sony need to react? Do they need to buy some studios? What needs to happen to kind of balance the scales?
The only potential issue I see about this is that if Microsoft just continues buying all these studios. Otherwise, I don't really see a big thing, but they do need to counter in some way, whether it be, there's a couple different options I could see that they do, either building their own new IPs that do this. They don't have the best track record of something that's like a Call of Duty, like trying to imitate a successful model. But there's people talking about, wanting Killzone and Resistance. Yeah, those are great games. I love those games. But are those going to be able to replace the void of a Call of Duty? I don't really think so. The something else they could do to maybe control some of the messaging around it, if they felt the need to, If I were Sony, there's only one thing I would do, and if I were to counter with a similar move, and that would be to buy Konami. If I could, bring back Metal Gear Solid, bring back Castlevania, Silent Hill, Contra, like, Frogger, all those Contra, Frogger and stuff, like Frogger Mobile, like go make a mobile Frogger game and make it really cool and make it actually good. Kind of, bolster your messaging, your IPs that you have or whatever, and with some well-known IPs like that. I mean, I think that's more of it's more of a flashy move. I mean, we would all love for Metal Gear Solid and all these to come back, of course. But I think a lot of that, people are asking for Sony to do something flashy, which this I mean, or I don't even think it's possible, but you buy EA and now you own all the FIFA things. But I don't think that's really the best case scenario. I don't think everybody wins in the end if all these companies just start buying up all the third-party developers until they're AAA studios until there's none left. I think that creates just a monopoly everywhere. I think that's just somebody's going to end up being a monopoly, and that's what I fear about Microsoft doing. Like, it's like, okay, stop. Like, like I know you can buy anything you want, but just fucking stop for the sake of keeping gaming alive and evolving. Just stop. How about you?
I think we had the same conversation when they bought ZeniMax. It was just like to me, I kind of don't care, because what Xbox or what Microsoft seems to be doing is taking these like super safe routes. They see these corporations, they see these companies, these developers, publishers that have been doing really well for the last decade. Like, oh look, we need Call of Duty, and like let's buy Call of Duty, let's buy Diablo, and then they buy those things, and like. But those things to me, just like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, those things are like on their way to getting stale, right? I've sort of had enough of those, and what Sony seems to be doing, and it's tough to talk about a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Sony and say that they have vision, right? That they are able to look toward the future, but I think their business model tends to be more like that. They, like you said, they bought Firesprite, and no one really knew Firesprite. Firesprite was a relatively small team. We only knew them really for the persistence. I know they had worked on a few other projects, but now Firesprite's got almost 300 employees. And they've got 3 different like huge games in the works. And so I really like Sony's take, though. They say they kind of look toward the future and say, hey, we're gonna build this company up much bigger than it is, and really I think they see something.
I love the way they do stuff, and a lot of the times, the unfortunate part is they do have some misses here and there, like what is that, also the battle royale, the car racing one, Destruction All Stars, like stuff like that. Like, yeah, you don't want to end up having whiffs like that, but then you got stuff like Horizon and Ghost of Tsushima and God of War. They've got Uncharted. They've got so many well-renowned IPs that are also massive successes in quality and financially. And we've heard them say before that that's maybe not the most viable solution moving forward. At least, the Sean Layden, the former president, said something like that, like creating every game a massive open world and with like the highest of the high end polish and stuff. But so for us personally, though, the truth is, I don't feel like this really affects us except for in one way, which is we've always said that the easy route for VR to get more and more attention, to get more people's attention and interest, is for popular IPs to go to VR. Like, this eliminates the chance of a Call of Duty VR, which, while I'm not like, oh no, I'm also like, well, that would be a great way to get a bunch of people's interest into VR. Stuff like, the next Elder Scrolls game or something that comes out. There are a lot of IPs within those studios that would have actually converted to VR. Like shit, I've even said before, I would take a third person Spyro VR game. Like I would have loved that. And I still, but yeah, when with all this acquisition and stuff, and I think the other story here that we can't let go is just how much of a dumpster fire Activision has become. I mean, they used to be a long time ago. They were like a really, really awesome developer. I mean, they've been developing since Atari, and it's just over time they've just turned into kind of a it's all big businesses, so it shouldn't really surprise you. It's a friendly reminder that hey, these big companies aren't always your friend. But I do like that at least Sony has shown in multiple ways that they do care to some degree about your experience, about developers' experience. You know, they're not perfect. They make mistakes all the time. But every single developer I've talked to has always said, besides the certification process, has said that they have really, really great relationships and how supportive Sony are of them.
Boy, I hear different stories than that all the time. I just want to finish my thoughts on the on Sony's reaction to all this and what Sony needs to do. I hope they continue. I hope they continue seeing the potential of smaller studios and continuing to buy those types of studios, because I think that maybe first person shooters have been in need of it's been in need of a little bit of a revolution for a while now, and if you look at somebody in the chat, who was it? LC2552 that beats the musical Game Cat said, I really hope Sony doesn't just scramble to make more multiplayer games or Call of Duty style games. I hope they still focus on what they've been good at, single player, AAA games. And while I 100% agree with you, Beats, I think that Sony is really good at that. Unfortunately, when you look at the stable of games that they put out and all of their exclusives, a lot of them tend to be these third-person single-player adventures, and that's great. I think that's a great foundation, but I do think that, especially if things like this continue to happen, that they need to figure out maybe like, hey, let's buy a studio that we think has the potential to make the next Call of Duty, and let's give them the tools that they need to survive and to succeed. So I hope that they're able to diversify their portfolio a little bit, because right now, I don't think they're able to compete. I think they should do it too, because I think people are interested in new IPs, and this would be a great time to do it. We can't let Call of Duty and Battlefield like run the show forever, man.
No. Although we do still have the chance of a Battlefield being in VR, and that excites me. Because I've always actually liked Battlefield more. I haven't played the last like 1 or 2, but I did play Battlefield all the way up to like 3 and 4, I think. Mm-hmm. And especially 4, I think, is where I stopped, and I loved that one. So I'm glad that EA has made some VR games. You know, they made with EA Motive Star Wars Squadrons, which was quality as hell. So I just hope to God that not everybody's going on a buying spree here, and that we can still have some third-party AAA studios and some that include VR as well.
Yeah, I'd say so. Let's just finish off this conversation with a few tips from the cats. Belrami the Game Cat with the €2 says Minecraft's got VR. This is very true. So at least we have that. Super cool video,
I don't know
bro.
how that happened.
Yeah, I don't either. Super cool video, bro, with the $5 says, do you think Xbox will enter VR with the amount of studios they now own that might be limited now? I know Bethesda has a history of VR. I think
no.
If you've been paying attention to this conversation, I think one of the things that I hopefully AJ and I agree on, or maybe AJ and I agree on, is that Microsoft is very reactionary and not as forward-thinking. I think that they will enter the VR market when the VR market is already super successful, and they go, okay, it's time to enter the VR market. Like, we didn't have to be there at the beginning. We're just going to be like, hey, this PC VR headset is now Xbox 3 capable, compatible. Yeah. Just like plug it in and here's your VR, and they'll find a way to do that. I don't think we're going to see them for another 5 years do VR. Maybe have something for their next system. I don't know. VR is about to explode, and but it's still going to be growing though over the next 5 years. It's going to explode, but it's still going to be growing, and they're going to have their hands full trying to operate all of these major studios under one roof, and I'll be surprised if they actually even pull that off unscathed. I don't think they will. I think they're going to screw up a lot of things in the process, but
People will still go out and buy Call of Duty, so they'll be okay.
P Twist One says, and then they'll just go buy a bunch of VR companies up, which, yeah, probably the case.
Exactly.
Pia Track F with the 9 Plantain says, rest in peace, potential Call of Duty VR. It is so funny that we just had this whole show about PSVR2 system sellers and how we said we need to get everybody on board and get all of these, like Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and everything else. Like, we need all of these games to have VR modes. And like literally the day after that, they were like, as it turns out, that's not going to happen.
I still think we had the two best answers in Spider-Man and Grand Theft Auto. I think those two having VR, like a AAA VR game, are going to be massive for moving forward.
Isaiah Cox must be earlier in the show than everybody else. He's got a $2 tip that says PSVR1 tracking is completely different. That's true, but it's still a form of light tracking and not impossible. We've talked to plenty of developers who said if Sony's willing to put the work in, that there's possible ways to make backwards compatibility work with PSVR2, PSVR1 games. The Fenner PSVR $2 tip says 250 views with only 70 likes. Like it up. Feel better, BP. Thank you.
Thanks, Fenner.
Rare.
Swell guy.
Yeah, click the like button. Hit the like button. Smash the like button.
Smash the like button, Tarzan.
Yeah. We also got Larry Chu with a $5 tip says, how's it going?
It's going great, man.
Yeah. I can't wait to make some ramen noodles and lay on my couch.
I'm just working on videos and scripts. Everything's good. That being said, I do think Sony has a lot of awesome IPs that they could bring back. If I were them, like I said, if I was going to purchase a company, I'd purchase Konami, and that would just be a fucking legendary move to pull and bring back all those amazing IPs from the dead. Mm-hmm. I think, but they still do have stuff. I mean, there is potential for a Resistance, a Killzone, a SOCOM. I mean, SOCOM has been so highly requested for so long now. I think they could blow a lot of people's minds with a new SOCOM game. And at the end of the day too, like I just want VR support. I want more VR games. I want more AAA hybrids. It'll be interesting to see how all this develops over time.
Absolutely.
But I think they will bounce back. I think a lot of the stuff is just flashing stuff, and I think in the long run they'll probably figure something out. Hopefully, I mean, I'd be shocked if they didn't. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I think the best move they could do to counter this, if Sony decided to counter somehow, right, is to buy Take-Two, and that way they own Red Dead and Grand Theft, and because I really do think that the power of those games is almost equal to everything else that Microsoft has just bought up recently, and I don't think Sony's interested in doing that. I think Sony would rather take the creative route and build their own teams who are interested in making those style of games, and then have their own, which didn't really work for the Getaway, but that was PlayStation 2. They've learned a lot in the last 20 years.
The chat seems to be very fond of the idea of Killzone, Resistance, and SOCOM.
Hell yeah, man. Oh, dude. So the catalog that Sony has of first-party IPs that have just been dormant for like decades is just ridiculous. I mean,
I think there's still a lot of third-party AAA devs studios out there as well that they can lean on, that they can pay for VR as well, for us anyways.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and that's how Resident Evil 7 worked. That's how Fract worked.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of things work. That's how we get a lot of games in VR this generation, and I'm sure that's how it'll work next generation too. Although, again, with it being so easy to make a hybrid game for PSVR 2, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of money exchange. You just say, hey, do this, and then you can make more money. Easy. All right, man. We got to wrap the show up with a game of 20 questions. I think you're the host. You got a game in mind. It's up to me and the chat to ask 20 yes or no questions. Figure out what game you're thinking of.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys want to put your thinking caps on today? I'm gonna let you know right now.
I don't like it already.
You're gonna need to channel all of the weirdest questions you can think of, because the basic questions I don't think are gonna get you there.
All right. Well, with that said,
good luck.
you guys are going to really have to help me out. Like, my brain fog is like horrible right now, and I'm so ready for bed. So let's do this. Go. Do you play as a human?
You do not play as a human.
That's a big one right there. Not human. Is it a puzzle game?
It is not a puzzle game.
Do you use a port shovel?
A what?
A port shovel.
What is that? What didn't you just mention that like the other day?
Yeah. How are you not up on the inside jokes? Everyone else is. All right.
I don't know what a port shovel is.
Do you do you control vehicles in this game?
You do not control vehicles in this game.
Let's go with Mark's question. Is the primary thing you're doing in this game shooting?
No, it is not a shooter. Some people in the chat. Only I can tell who knows your port shovel joke and who doesn't.
It was during 20 questions last time. I was like, put up my piece of paper. I was like, I don't know what a port shovel is. I can't read my own writing. Our sister says, why is this guy playing dumb on port shovels? Was this game made by... Has this developer made other PSVR games?
No.
Is this a PSVR game rather than experience?
Yeah, it's a game.
That is number 6 you just answered or asked.
Does this look cartoony?
It looks pretty cartoony, yeah. Definitely. Heavy cartoony.
Okay. You know, you don't play... It's cartoony. You don't play as a human. It's not puzzles. It's not... Oh, you don't control vehicles. No port shovels. It's the only PSVR game they made. Okay, I'll go with Brax Bros. Is it tied to an existing IP?
I would give you a bit of a hint here. It is like loosely tied to an existing IP. It's
right.
definitely inspired by one.
Inspired, but not. Doesn't have the
biggest
name.
hint you get.
Okay. So there goes Call of Duty Jackal Assault. But you control vehicles in that anyway.
Oh, that's funny.
No, I figured that would be appropriate for the show. No, I can't be to the top. The Guy VR. The Guy VR is puzzles. It's cartoony. I mean, yeah. I mean, sci-fi. I'll go with sci-fi. Are you underwater in this game?
No.
Okay. Is it?
There's water in it though.
There's water in it. No, it can't be Groundhog Day. It's not tied to an IP. Not really. Inspired by an IP.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Are you a dolphin in this game?
You're not a dolphin in this
Good.
game.
Oh, good. I was going to be inspired by Echo the Dolphin. It was
You're
like,
getting close to that. You're getting warmer.
do you play as an animal?
You do play as an animal. That's number 11.
Do you play in... All right, guys.
I am wearing my Jupiter and Mars shirt, by the way.
Nice. You play as an animal. Is it first person?
It is first person.
All right, guys. We're playing as an animal in first person.
They totally thought you had it.
I mean,
Jupiter and Mars. It would have been a good one. Definitely a good one.
Do you play as a dog?
Don't play as a dog.
Okay, well that gets rid of good dog, bad dog. Do you play as a cat?
You don't play as a cat. That's number 14.
Not cat lateral damage. Maneater's not VR. Eagle Flight's good. Do you fly in this game?
You don't fly in this game.
No.
That's number 15. Come
Okay.
on. You're just close. I feel like you're close anyways.
Baby Shark game isn't on PlayStation VR. You don't fly, so you're not a bird. You're not underwater, so we're not a fish. So there is water in the game. Planet of the Apes is definitely an experience, not a game. I guess we should just ask, are you an ape?
No, not an ape.
Is this made by Jeff Minter? Oh wait,
It's not made by Jeff Minter.
we got to hurry up, man, because we knew that he made other.
17. You're on question number 18.
Games.
Oh, it's a hard one. I know you guys you're so close, but I think you're running out of questions now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so lost right now. Lucky Tail isn't out yet. It can't be that. It's also first person. I don't know, is it Frog?
It is Frog.
Hugh Guyver at the last second.
Hugh Guyver with the buzzer beater.
Wow.
It is, in fact, V-Rog. Wow.
That's insane.
Save the day, Hugh Guyver.
Hugh Guyver.
Cousin Mac taught you all those, he took you out back and taught you about all the animal kingdom. It is V-Rog, man, which is a really shitty, awful, Frogger kind of inspired game that just gets boring after like 5 seconds. I love it, man. I love that you got it at the last second.
I had definitely given up. I was gonna like literally whatever somebody suggested, I was just gonna say, and Hugh Guyver suggested it at just the right time. So good. Thank you, Hugh Guyver. Hugh Guyver actually is the one who won that. It had nothing to do with me. So thank you very much, and appreciate everybody's help during that too.
It was a collective effort. Y'all kind of got there together.
So I just want to say I got 100 packs of ramen noodles delivered to me from Walmart today, and
wow.
I was looking on Amazon, and they were in like secondary sellers were trying to sell them for like $1 a pack, like so it was like $20, 24 for like a 24 pack, and I was like, ramen noodles didn't go up that much since I was in college. I know that they're still super cheap, and on Walmart they like for 24 pack it was like $5 or $6 or something, and so it's like I bought as many ramen noodles as $30 would get me, and they all get delivered today. And I'm going to go eat a lot of ramen noodles and lay down on the couch and watch television and kick back. And I want to say thank you to everybody out there who stuck with me today during my second sick episode of the week. Hopefully by Friday I'll be back up and running. And thank you to AJ for being here with me and holding the fort down.
It's a fun conversation, man. It was something a little bit different, I know, but we wanted to give our 2 cents on it and appreciate everybody, just letting us talk about something that's a little out of our realm.
Yeah, I mean, what happens in the larger ecosystem of video games it's like I don't even think we did a video on Bethesda, did we? Or the ZeniMax one? I don't remember us like really chiming in on that all too much, but this is just so much bigger than that. It's like, and we had so many thoughts about it, and you guys did too, and it was really good seeing all of your opinions on it. So thanks for participating during the chat. Thank you to everybody who helps the show out. Thank you to Hugh Guyver who helped me win that game. Thank you to Jay Meow and Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry, all the mods who are kicking ass, not just here on Discord. Click the link in the description to join us over on Discord. Remember that everything on Discord is free, so just click the link other than the voice chat. That's a $3 Patreon tier. And if you want your name on that illustrious list down below, and you also want to join us in voice chat over on Discord, $3 a month, patreon.com/withoutprogames. We really appreciate it. We want to get this guy over here hired before PlayStation VR2 comes out. The going rate, it's probably not going to happen, but we're going to do our absolute fucking best to make it happen. So help us out.
We'll still be here, cranking that sweet PSVR goodness out.
That's right. So thank you to everybody who helps us out. We love you so much. Thanks for participating in the chat. Thank you to everybody who donated during the show, and thank you to everybody who sat back and watched the show. Didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. AJ, let's cue the cat.
I love that the Vrog is there playing, and I'm glad they got to see a little gameplay. Cue the cat, Brian, because I want to say see you on Friday to Brax Bro. Says, Brian, I want a ramen eating ASMR in the VC. There is, what is that like eating noodles thing? There is like some eating craze that's
probably sounds something like.
Yeah. There you go. That's a freebie. The rest you got to go to patreon.com to hear the full-length version. Oak V3D, peace out to you, homie. Guys, up to you. Aceville VR, catch you Friday as well. Jazzy J, the Terramates Game Cat. It says, have a sexy rest of your hump day. Got those. That's right. Jazzy J knows what's up. Gabriel 004, the lights of Meow Game Cat. Meow, 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 meow. The Fenner PSVR says, my boys. All you are is history. Says, remember to buy Zenith We had a dozen people running a dungeon the other day. Holy God, did we?
So much fun,
Brian.
So much.
That was a closed beta, and we had an army of cats already.
Yep.
Guys, Zenith is going to be. Wow, that's going to be incredible, and is going to fit every single one of us into the game to play together all at once. Brax Bro says play more Plock. I have no idea what that is. Oh, maybe that's the name of that thing. Shades of Gray Matter says feel better, Brian. Steve IRE Noodle Slurp Porn. Mark Smith. Oh, man. LC2552 Sirens on my end. The Game Cat says Microsoft sucks. Beard of Power 666. Is it Friday yet? Neon Groove. Happy Hump Day, everyone. JC the Inimitable Dual Wielding Ass Kicking Game Cat. Good night to you too, my friend.
Inimitable.
X Pacer X.
Inimitable.
RG. I'm getting pretty good at that, aren't I? Inimitable. Inimitable.
I still
Inimitable.
can't do
Inimitable.
it,
Inimitable. 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 Fuck the Game Cat later, homie. Dan Kiefer, thank you so much, man. Dan Kiefer notified me earlier that Good Dog, Bad Dog is currently featured in the games under $20 sale.
Oh my God.
And it's still $25.
What?
Yep. Oh, that just shows you, man. That shows you
that
why.
dude knows somebody at Sony. Like that game keeps getting pushed to the front of the store. I have no idea what's going on over there. Hugh Guyver with the $3 Australian says, no worries. Thanks for telling me not to buy VROG. We will tell you not to buy VROG till the end of time. No worries about that.
Flame at the love of his life, Game Cat. VR Demon, good to see you, homie. And before we get out of here, guys, I just want to share some amazing news. Our good friend Josh had his surgery.
Yes.
And his surgery went well. He's doing much better. He's in recovering. He's expecting to come back on Friday. So love you, Josh, man, and thank you to all of you for sending good vibes and your thoughts towards him because we cured him. We cured him, and he is better. No, some great news. So love you guys. You guys are like my family.
They can see us again, just to let you know. I didn't want you picking your nose or something without them knowing. Yeah.
But just really amazing news. And yeah, man, thank you guys for all the support to not only us, but to each other as well.
Yeah, much love to Josh. Hopefully the recovery goes super smooth and he's back on his feet in no time. Also, what was the thing about Plock? Did somebody say something about Plock? Play more Plock?
Yeah, I think that's the eating thing. I think that's.
Okay, there's a Super Nintendo game called Plock, and I was like, "There's no way somebody's referencing that." There's just no way.
Nope, that is the reference. I was wrong. It is definitely the Super Nintendo game.
Speaking from experience, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need to play more Plock. It's not horrible, but there's so many better Super Nintendo games to play than that, and those are my words of wisdom. Where's the hold screen? I'm bringing the hold screen back up. There we are. All right, let's get out of here, AJ. Have a good night. I love you all.